NASCAR Xfinity Series race has officially concluded from Sonoma Raceway, and Shane Van Gisbergen has gone back-to-back and won a second straight NASCAR Xfinity Series race. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. As I just said a second ago, the NASCAR Xfinity Series race has officially concluded from Sonoma Raceway, and Shane Van Gisbergen goes back-to-back and wins his second straight NASCAR Xfinity Series race. Shane Van Gisbergen had to wheel a car that had many issues and many problems. Early in the race, he had steering issues, and said something was broken on the front and on the rear. And then he had issues with the voltage near the end of the race and was still able to keep it under him. So let's recap Shane's race. So Shane, of course, went on to win the pole. He was the fastest in practice and went on to win the pole, and he dominated the early portion of the race. But he had one challenger early in the race that was his major threat throughout the entire day, and that was Ty Gibbs. Those two drivers had cars that were nearly half a second to 0.6 a lap faster than the rest of the field. And it seemed like Ty Gibbs actually had a little bit more of a quicker car than Shane. But Shane started pulling away near the end of the stage, and then Ty was starting to make up ground. And then Shane decided to stay out at the end of stage 1, but we saw Ty Gibbs decide to come down pit road. And because of this, Shane would actually come off the corner and dominate and win stage number 1 and lead every single lap in stage number 1. Then he would come down pit road and restart about 5th or 6th or 7th or 8th position. And Ty Gibbs stayed out because he came down pit road along with other guys like Austin Green and a few other drivers. I think Austin Hill also stayed out if I'm not mistaken. But a lot of guys like AJ Allmendinger, they came down pit road. And Shane would restart in 8th position. But on the restart, Shane made a bonsai move up to the front and got up to 5th position, but stayed there, and that's when his steering issues really started coming into play. But he started wheeling that car, and he started making better lap times than guys like Ty Gibbs, Sam Mayer, and Jesse Love, who all were in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and eventually Shane got up to 4th position. Then he started making up ground near the end of stage number 2, and was starting to make some inroads on the 3, and eventually got by Sam Mayer for 3rd position with about 5 laps to go in stage number 2. They were going to come down pit road at the end of stage number 2, but they had a big communication error where they decided to stay out for whatever reason, and Shane would basically come to stay out and collect a lot of points and would come down at the end of the stage and finish 2nd in stage number 2, and Ty Gibbs would end up winning stage 2 with Shane being in 2nd position. But the communication errors and the strategy errors that came into play hurt Shane's chances at the time to go and win the race. Luckily for them, there were only about 3 or 4 cars that decided to stay out. That being Austin Hill, Austin Green, and I believe a few other guys like Parker Ressler and AJ Allmendinger, they all stayed out. Now, those drivers were on a fuel economy run trying to make it to the end of the race. Meanwhile, on pit road, Shane Van Gisbergen came out 2nd behind Cole Custer, and Ty Gibbs and Sam Mayer, or Jesse Love, who were 2 guys that were going to be major threats for the win, those guys had issues on pit road. And we get to the restart. Shane's restarting about 4th or 5th and starts making moves. He sends a 3 wide by Justin Allgaier, and all of a sudden, the big one strikes coming into turn 4 and turn number 5. Jeb Burton gets in the back of Chandler Smith, and a bunch of drivers have nowhere to go. It collects drivers like Josh Williams, teammate, of course, of SVG. Ty Gibbs gets collected. Jeb Burton, of course, gets collected. Boris Said gets collected after Ty Gibbs acts like a bona fide idiot on the track. I think Ryan C. got collected in that, and there were a lot of other drivers that were collected in the big incident and the big wreck. I think that was really stupid. But then at this point, we get back to the restart, and Austin Hill has the lead over Allmendinger, but Shane will restart in the 2nd row on the outside with Austin Hill. And those two started battling up front for the lead. Now, Austin Hill actually initially pulled away from Shane, but Shane started reeling Austin Hill back in and got up there and challenged for the lead. But then everything would change with about 5 laps to go, or 15 to go, when Austin Hill's teammate Jesse Love spun out and NASCAR, for whatever reason, threw the caution. Now, one thing you know is they do have a wall that was there in turn number 11. I'm guessing that's why they threw the caution, but I'm still thinking it was very, very questionable that they threw the yellow. And then we get to the final restart of the race, and this is where the big move happens. Austin Hill restarts with Shane right there, and Austin Hill actually initially clears Shane going up into the S's into turn number 1. But Shane gets a big run, sends it there, and unfortunately gets into Austin Hill and sends Austin Hill in the grass, and Austin Hill drops back to 5th, and Shane is able to get the race lead and starts pulling away. But then you have Sam Mayer and Sheldon Creed who are actually keeping up with Shane. But with about 5 or 6 laps to go, after Sam Mayer was starting to close in, Shane Van Gisbergen started pulling away after Sam Mayer made a mistake. And actually, there was a really good battle between SVG and Sheldon Creed. Not SVG, Sheldon Creed and Sam Mayer for second. Eventually, Sheldon Creed got up to second. They tried everything to close in, and on the last lap, Sheldon Creed was starting to close in on Shane Van Gisbergen, but it would not be enough. And coming off the final corner, Shane Van Gisbergen pulls out to about 1.8 or 1.9 second lead and picks up a second straight victory of 2024 and his second career NASCAR Xfinity Series victory. Going in this weekend, a lot of people picked SVG to win. He was going to be the favorite going in. I know you had guys like AJ Allmendinger and Ty Gibbs and John Nemechek and Austin Hill and even Justin Allgaier, who are really good road racers, and even Austin Green, who had a very impressive run today. We knew those guys were going to be quick and super fast. But after how fast Shane was in practice and qualifying, I knew he was going to be the guy to beat. But he really wasn't the fastest car overall. I think Ty Gibbs legitimately had the fastest car. And like I mentioned earlier, you do have to remember that he had issues with this car. And in fact, he wheeled that car and got the victory today. It's once again extremely impressive. He's got a really busy weekend coming up because remember, he's also going to be spotted for Will Brown in his Cup Series debut. And I think that Shane can use some of that experience to help Will Brown out tomorrow. But I'm really happy for Shane. He did a burnout and trolled Austin Hill, which I found very funny. Austin Hill was not happy with Shane, but in my personal opinion, I really don't think Shane did anything wrong. It's just hard racing going for the win, and I know that Austin Hill, it's going to be hypocritical for me to say this, but I think Austin Hill shouldn't be complaining about stuff because he's done a lot of this stuff in the past. But to see Shane Van Gisbergen once again get that second win of the year, it officially locks into playoffs, of course, pending post-race inspection. And Shane now doesn't have to worry about making it. I think now Shane also moves up to around 9th or 10th in the points. So if he gets himself inside the top 10 in the points, he can get some extra playoff points. And him staying out at the end of stage number 1 and getting that extra playoff point, that could play him huge dividends later in the year. We know he saw it at super speedways. And then, like I said, to get that second win is huge. He's beating drivers like Haley Deegan and Jesse Love, really only the 2 rookies that I think can contend. But Haley Deegan struggled today. And he's continuing to impress me on a week-by-week basis. And you talk about the future for Shane. There's a lot of talk and conversations that Shane will likely move up to the NASCAR Cup Series potentially next year. And to see them continue to impress like this is great. Meanwhile, you have Zane Smith, who's really struggling this year. So more than likely, Shane's going to be moving up to the Cup Series and driving a third Trackhouse car, especially with the new charter rumors that are coming out, where there's going to be a clause where only teams are going to be allowed to have 3 charters unless your grandfather. I think that Shane is probably going to be in Cup next year, and I think this win probably sealed the deal to go Cup racing. He still needs to get better on ovals, but he's continuing to improve on ovals, and I think he's going to continue doing that throughout the rest of the season. Nonetheless, congratulations to Shane Van Gisbergen on picking up the win and the victory this weekend at Sonoma Raceway. So, that is given today's short NASCAR Xfinity Series race review from talking about Shane Van Gisbergen's win at Sonoma. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support on Patreon as well. Links goes below that, and comment your thoughts below on today's video. What are your thoughts about today's race? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and congratulate Shane Van Gisbergen on picking up the victory. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, we are going to have the NASCAR Cup Series race review from Sonoma. We'll also have a starting lineup. You'll see drivers like Will Brown and Cam Waters, Bubba Wallace, Kyle Busch, also racing in this event. And there's a news video also coming on Monday. We'll be talking about Junior Motorsports and Carl Edwards and Kurt Busch, among other things, in the video tomorrow. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.